but I said a while ago that I was going to... Shut up, music. I said a while ago that I was going to check out how they do wipes and how they do seasons and stuff. And true to my word, at 4 o'clock in the morning, that's what we're gonna do. But to prove that I'm trying to be fair to this game, I'm going to go ahead and spend the currency that I accidentally bought the last time that I played this. This and yeah, at least some of it. So how do we go about joining? Okay, so here's how it works. How I think it works. Pirate Software, Thor of Pirate Software, kind of wrote the game off because he was treating this game more like an MMO, and he thinks that having to lose all of your progress in an MMO was a completely unacceptable thing to do. And he's kind of sort of right. But he's thinking of this as an MMO and not as like the Rust, Minecraft, sandbox experience that it's really trying to be. And those sorts of games really do need a fresh start every now and then in order to keep people interested and keep people, you know, changing up how they play and trying out different things. So this new season is what I think that's going to be. I signed up for this new season. They're calling it Manibus. I have absolutely no idea how it works. It's PvE still. I thought that it would be open already. That's why I picked this time to start. 8:23 at 10. Did I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning for no freaking reason? I think I just woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning for no reason. Check their announcements. I don't know how. This game... Oh boy. Let me message the idiot who told me to play this. He's not online. Of course he's not. Season reaches its final phase. Sign-up feature is available. Join new season server when the scenarios. If you sign up for a new season server but don't enter, you can switch to the server. Well. I tried. PvP has servers opened, but, I'm not fucking doing that. Oh, why did they put... Oh, because these servers are full. What? Okay, well, obviously this isn't going to work. This is an early access game confirmed? No, it's not. And even if it... No. No. I've already talked about how we're not going to be giving games any excuse just because they're calling themselves early access. Not only did they not call themselves an early access game, they've had several betas to figure this out. They've claimed to be listening to a lot of player feedback, and yet it still appears as though they can't get their shit together. So instead of me playing and finding out what this crap is about, I have to go to YouTube. People wonder why I get so angry at this garbage. It's a criticism. And I'm sure there are going to be tons and tons of people who just eat this crap up. Pisses me off. Nobody has any standards anymore.
So the developers of Once Human have actually sponsored me to do a review of...
Yeah, I bet they did. Okay, we're gonna do a reaction to Thor's video. Of course they paid this guy to do a review of the new season because it doesn't make any sense.
A dev stream that they have and their recent patch notes, which is interesting because most of the time when you get sponsorships, it's not for that. Most of the time when you get a sponsorship, it's like go play the video game, things like that. But that means that they are very, very confident in the patch notes for this and their kind of like take on what they're going and the direction they're going. Especially because like
I'm gonna stop them right there. They're not confident in what they're doing. They need somebody to make it clear what's actually happening.
I had previous interactions with them. I had a meeting with the game developers a while back.
Yeah. Nobody cares about their stupid trailer.
There's a person.
Content. When it comes to what makes Once Human so popular, firstly, we try to provide a rich super to the
I don't care.
base, which we call...
What they're referring to is the scenario is actually the game setting, the world for that season, and the season is the passage of time. It's just setting up the terminology, basically.
When the season comes to the final phase, which we call a settlement phase, you are offered a choice to sign up for a new scenario, or you could choose to stay until the settlement phase is over.
Now, some players have expressed concerns that this will be a seasonal wipe. Can you give us more details and break down how it works?
So first of all, seasonal wipe is an inaccurate saying. Scenario is a very important feature of Once Human. At the end of the scenario, players would come across what we call a seasonal renew. The seasonal renew process is not a wipe. After entering a scenario settlement phase, players will be given the...
Choose a scenario on server, create a character, play the scenario, sign up for a new scenario. Play on the new server. Enter Eternal Land. Pleasantly surprised to see you on this early. I'm glad you're here, Demented, because I was attempting to sign up for the new whatever the heck Once Human is doing, and now I want to uninstall the game even more than I wanted to before. So I have to refer to Pirate Software's video to try and figure out what the heck this is even supposed to be, because I can't do it myself. Stay on the current server until the season ends. Choose not to sign up for the new scenario. What the heck is Eternal Land?
The opportunity to sign up for a new scenario.
Here, I'll pull it back up. No problem. I will pull it back up. Eternal Land is like your perma-home island. So if you don't sign up for a new scenario and you choose to stay on the current server until it ends, then you just get booted into their version of a single-player mode. Oh shoot, I should have entered Eternal Land, but that's okay. That's okay. A new dawn, Manimus. Okay, so here's where it says sign up for a new season. The PvP split is called Evolution's Call. The PvE one is Manibus. Now, the PvE server that I picked was supposed to start at 4 o'clock in the morning, which was about an hour ago. Now, time changed. Now it's saying that it's in 5 hours. Now, I can join the normal mode, but I'm told that hard mode has different stuff going on in it. Hard mode has 2 servers that are open, but they're currently full. Why on earth? I was under the impression that these X0012 through 23s or whatever were going to be like channel changing, like how what we currently have, but apparently that's not the case because you can't openly swap to them. Now, they have PvP servers that are open, notably harder, but there's also different content in it, is what I was told. Different content and different rewards and stuff. These other 2, The Way of the Winter and the Prism versus Clash, aren't out yet. Will you even go back to the main, whatchamacallit? Does different mean better? I would assume that if you're going to be playing a harder difficulty, the different rewards would be slightly better. So I figured if I'm gonna do this, I may as well play on a harder difficulty. I've never actually clicked on these. So get the badge and then I'll be transferring servers. Is that a thing that you can even do? items and buildings exist permanently. Okay. The space-time bank is just sort of outputs from the eternal cannot be carried over to the new system. What? This place feels peaceful. I can't sense any stardust, relics, anything. It's like we're frozen in time. That's what you were just looking at? So for creating a deviated farm and then just porting it into your games, but so if you don't choose a new scenario, then they just kick you and all of your crap onto Epstein Island here until you decide if you want to PvP or PvE. But anything that you get here, you can't transfer over into the new scenario. You can transfer most of it at a cost. I sincerely hope I don't have to explain why all of this is stupid. And why are there buildings already here? Well, I mean, if it's going to save all of your stuff, would you not just be able to take the blueprint of your house from the regular server and just... Okay, maybe they should put that in the tutorial.
Let's start. Thank you, Meta. Beautiful place. Even the air tastes sweeter. But how can this be possible? And I can't change anything here either. It's not source.
Place is definitely different from the outside world then.
Any materials from the outside world cannot be used directly here. You need to use astral sand to create. You can make all kinds of things with astral sand. It's easy. Here, let me show you.
The tutorial was only 2 pages and it said...
I'll tell you what.
Okay.
Let's start by fixing this place up. This world is in a constant state of flux, you see. If what we want is astral sand, all we need to do is speed up that process.
Spot where I can build this. Whatever. I honestly don't care. I'm so over it. Sanctuary space. Yeah. So, I'm gonna say this right now. Regardless of what Thor thinks of a wipe or losing your progress and your content, right now I would absolutely prefer that. Just take the gear, take the materials, hell, take the blueprints. Just reset us all to level 1. Because at least that makes sense. All of this extra sign up, some servers are this, some servers are that. Which one should you go to? I don't know. When does it unlock? We're changing the times. Once I read the image I shared in Discord, I read it too. I read it multiple times, and I thought that I understood what was happening. I don't. So, okay, fine. Fine. Just so I have something to do. Special invitation code, starting soon. So even this, you can't get into a hard mode because it's full. And another server doesn't open up for another 2 days. So... fine. I'll do a normal server. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I'm uninstalling this as soon as I close this game. Just let me see what the heck is going on. The sky was shrouded in gloom. So these are like seasonal goals.
We made it. Let's set up a territory.
Mask mode. Simplified. Furniture, dishes, armor calibration. What? Okay. So... they just decided that they were gonna... just drop me in the middle of... Deep breaths. Deep breaths. We're gonna make it through this. We're gonna make it through this. Don't just drop me off in hostile lands and then immediately have a dozen pop-ups for every menu that I try and open while I figure out what's happening. Oh look! A peaceful, safe area, which would have made a perfectly reasonable spot for a player to be put into a new whatever this is. Good God. Okay, so they gave me food. A little bit of ammo. The deagle. And a wrench. Other than that, I have nothing. Unable to access. And all of the stuff on the map has been reset. So I'm going to assume that I have to reach level 20 or so before the new scenario stuff starts happening. Silhouette of a tentacle has emerged. Unlock chapter 1. I don't... Do any of you see tentacle? So this is just the new game plus with different modifiers. Gotcha. Gotcha. That's really stupid. This is really dumb. This is absolutely... completely and totally unnecessary. And... they added in all of this extra pomp and flair for what is essentially just a wipe. Okay, cool. Get off my computer. Forever. Install. Add, remove programs. Yep. Uninstall. Holy cow.
And start a new adventure where they will keep their original characters, appearance, rare currencies, long-term development content like blueprints, modules, and inheriting some of the material according to the new scenario material entry rules to aiding their character growth.
I don't think that makes sense to me. So there is...
Oh, thank God. Thank goodness. Okay. Even though they paid him.
It is wiping certain content from your character. Your character's level gets wiped. You have to start over from the beginning. You may keep all those other things, but there's still content being wiped. I do think that sidesteps the issue that players are upset about, legitimately. I don't think that that makes sense.
With
It doesn't.
the efforts players put into the game, players will receive different rewards based on
We'll
their
go into the-
performance in the
into the
previous
information.
scenario. These rewards can be carried over to the next scenario to help with their exploration.
So since this isn't a wipe, what content and progress will players be able to keep after the seasonal renew?
This is me. This is the equivalent of me handing you a block of cheese and saying, no, 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 this isn't cheese. This is solid milk. It's like it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not cheese. It's just solid milk.
Will they lose their house, rares, and paid items?
Again, we value the efforts and time players put into Once Human. Even when a scenario is over or
Okay, so let's take a look at this. Things that do transfer over. You can transfer the following content to your depot on Eternal Ed. Before the next season begins, you can bring some resources along with you into the next journey. Weapons and armor, regular resources such as materials, medicine, and bullets, deviations, calibration blueprints, and energy links. Retained in your Eternal Ed depot, you can bring them to other scenarios so long as you meet the requirements. I wish that was less vague. What is the requirements? What does that mean? Like, is it like a level thing? Is it in-game currency thing? Like, what is it? What is the requirements?
Both.
Yeah, exactly. What do the requirements mean here, right? The next one is convert to astral sand and use it to build an eternal ender buy supply. So energy links, those become useless, which makes sense because that's an in-game currency. You delete that at the end of the season, it turns into sand. Cool. You cannot take the following content for the associated scenario into a new scenario. Map exploration progress, character level XP, scenario core gameplay items, specialization items crafted using mimetic specialization. So, like, I get that. I understand it. I'm going to be real with you. I like having a bank in World of Warcraft, and between seasons in World of Warcraft, I save all my old cool items that I think are really neat. I just do. And I think that's fine. It's Diablo 4? Not really. So, like, Diablo 4, you get to have a non-seasonal character that never gets wiped, right? This is like at the end of a seasonal character. Like, imagine the end of a Diablo season, and at the end of the Diablo season, your character goes back to level 1. And then can
I
play
don't
the next
play
season.
Diablo,
You
so
don't get
this
to
is
retain
going over
your
my head a little
character
bit. I don't.
in an infinite world. Does that make sense?
I played
That's why-
Diablo
that's
2
why
and
people are
3.
talking- it's
1,
a
2,
wipe.
and 3.
That's a wipe. That's a wipe
So
of
I don't know what they're
character.
doing
Yeah.
for.
when a player decided to exit a scenario halfway, they can take away the rewards and accept the form.
And I didn't play seasons in 3. I just went through the normal whatever. Hello, Des. Hello, Day.
Cases and
I'm gonna be real with everyone just joining. I just got done having a very, very frustrating experience trying to figure out what this exact thing is. And not only do I not know what it is, I also hate it
an item
profusely.
specifically related to scenario and memetics. However, to ensure that each scenario offers a complete gaming experience and allow all players to enjoy the gaming regardless of their program.
I'm gonna have to leave a link to Pirate Software's video somewhere because I'm not trying to take his content, but I know that if they paid him to do this, then he's probably going to have some sort of better understanding of it, or at least that's what the thought process was. Turns out he's as confused as I am, kind of.
Character nickname,
Maybe.
body shape, appearance,
So let's see. These all carry over. You can take the following content from their associated scenario to a new scenario. Names, body sizes, your characters, cosmetics, the super hardcore materials, gear blueprints and their ratings, blueprint fragments, weapon accessories, mods, and food recipes, furniture formulas and building blueprints, seasonal items, your friends and group chats. You don't have to leave them behind, chat. Task completion progress. So for the main story and side stories, you complete the scenario. You can play their streamlined version in a new season or go through the full version for a second time. Event progress and materials. You can check them in the
So-
okay.
I'll mention this really briefly. I also disagree with him about the stop killing games thing. I disagree with him on that. But generally speaking, his point of view from the development standpoint of the games industry is pretty invaluable. There's several different ways that people view the games industry currently, and it's either from a development standpoint, like Pirate Software, there's from the consumer point of view, which is most of you guys, and then there is the developer, or not, wait, I just said that, developer, consumer, and business. I'm sorry. The business point of view is all of this creativity and passion is great, but at the end of the day, it has to make money, it has to generate revenue somehow. So we kind of see how icky the development and the business side of things can be, but there's also the consumer point of view to take into consideration when it comes to all of this stuff. The reason that I bring that up is because this is a wipe with 5 or 6 extra steps. And when you try and reinvent the wheel like this, you end up isolating a bunch of people who just want to play your game. The result usually ends up with people not wanting to play your game, like me.
friend relationship, rare currencies like Christian.
Let's see, I know I play some, but they're targeting Western audiences. If you're not there playing those games, you wouldn't. I mean, the mentality that goes into content and how it's like managed does differ from region to region. Like, obviously, some regions prefer gacha game, like mobile uh style. Others prefer a more like open world experience, which is the current trend thanks to Elden Ring, Breath of the Wild, Genshin Impact, things like that. Some people try and do this weird blend where they take a bunch of genres and just throw them all together in a pot and stir it up and hope that something good comes out. Rarely ever does that work. You know.
Starcrown
Anyway.
meets Cosmark.
It's a soft wipe, yes.
Long-term development items like equipment blueprints, fragments, weapon accessories, modules, recipes, cosmetics, territory house blueprints, furniture formula, and furniture except those unlocked by the mimetic specialization.
The streamlined version of the story
main
idea is
and
quite
side
good.
Quest progress. Players can fast experience the completed quests in the simplified version and get rewards in the new adventure. Also, there are items that will be transferred to the Eternal Land. After the beginning of the new scenario adventure, players can carry some of the previous resource from Eternal Land into the new season to assist.
So, I also want to clarify, I don't have an issue with what's happening. I have an issue with how they're doing it. If they had just said, okay, here's the wipe, anything that you've already done, you can opt in to do it again or say, you know, I don't want to do that again, I've already done it. That's not the problem. Obviously, everybody expects that their paid cosmetics are going to stay with them. But don't make it like a timed, split up, seasonal PvE, PvP situation. Just say, hey, on this day, the reset happens. Here's what you keep, here's what you don't. And if people don't want to play it, fine. A lot of people are going to stick around because they're already invested in the game anyway.
In the growth and development, like
You can stay on your fading server for about 2 months. So you have about 2 months to sign up. Don't, when you give people an option, several options, you're just generating more opportunity for confusion. On the VShoujo Minecraft server, if something happens, or after a certain amount of time passes and more people join in, or the Minecraft game itself gets updated, they say, reset. Rebuild everything. Start from scratch. So it gives time for peeps to gather and select a new server that wasn't weeks old. I don't think I fully understand what you mean by that.
crafted gear, weapons, regular resources.
I want you to elaborate on that.
Medicine,
Okay, we get it.
Having the re-level is the biggest thing, Mr. Jollybear. I think that's not great for a lot of players because I'll be real with you, right? We get like an emotional attachment to our level. We get an emotional attachment to our things. You lose those things, you lose the level. You have to start over. You may be able to build them back, but like, right? You do the exact same thing you do now without having a wipe, and that's what players are upset about, which makes sense.
Disagree with him on that because this is a sandbox game, and functionally speaking, the level is just kind of there. I mean, I guess there are statistical increases as you level up, but if you see a zombie and you're level 1, you kill it. If you see a zombie and you're level 50, you still kill it. So functionally, it's the same thing. Now let's see what you're talking about here. If I have to sign up on a server on X day, then we all have to be ready on X day to start playing. Or if we join X server on Y day, we'll be behind on weeks. Does that really matter in a PvE situation? So long as you and your group of people join the server at the same amount of time, then you're essentially on a level playing field. But what are you competing with other people for? It's not like there's any sort of world firsts. I mean, I get there might be raids, probably going to be raids in the future, but if you're not trying to be the first person on the server to do a certain thing, then it shouldn't really matter. It mattered for me because I was trying to sell things to other players, which is also a huge pain in the ass. The scenario has a set time span, which is a problem caused by this. I hear you with the scenario thing, but what is even the scenario? Because when I jumped into that new quote unquote scenario, everything was immediately the exact same. So whatever changes happen are only going to happen after you go through X amount of the story that's already there in the first place. I'd rather join early. True, true. EXP gain, loot drops, and pacing. That's not a scenario. Those are server settings. That's a slider on a menu that you can change. When they say scenario, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe the land will have a different format. The bosses that you encounter will be slightly different, or the enemies will be jumbled up or something. Each scenario has different world events. See, they don't need. Now I'm with Thor when I say that they don't need to have a wipe in order to introduce those things. To me, the purpose of having a wipe is when you have a bunch of people who are on a server, new players and old players, and they're building different things in different places on the map. You wipe those things in order to clear the world out, all of the people who are no longer playing, things that don't need to be there anymore, and then you can have them build something new, build something better. Have those new players mingle with the veteran players more. The scenario or the settings of experience and money and stuff like that doesn't matter even a little bit. It's just to wipe the slate clean so you keep your servers from grinding to a halt, eliminate some of the chaff, get rid of some of those bots, get rid of some of those inactive players so that the new ones can still enjoy the game.
Sense.
Echo Stone in the
Current scenario wipes is the same scenario. There is no major scenario events until October. So then, instead of having it be every 6 weeks, just make the wipe happen whenever there's a new major content thing. How likely do you think a lot of these decisions were from asking AIs? I don't really think AI is at play here. Once Human basically just needed to do what Tarkov does. And I'm kind of loath to bring that up right now, but Tarkov, they don't have a set period of every so often we're going to wipe. They just say, hey, every time we add in a major new feature or a bunch of new things, we're going to wipe everyone's slate clean and reset everything. So that's something that would happen from constantly asking AI about what to add to a game. Well, that's the thing. Currently, I don't know what the new scenario quote unquote adds. Because it sounds like it doesn't add anything, it's just the same game with the server settings adjusted slightly. It adds only enemy modifiers. That's not content. That is not content. I was thinking that these scenarios were going to be content.
minibus scenario.
So let's keep watching.
Special items created through mimetic specialization like solo drill, character level experience, map exploration.
You're still talking about stuff that you keep.
Due to the special nature of the scenario feature and game balance consideration, some of the game data will not be inherited to the next season. These include items strongly related to the gameplay mechanism of the previous scenario. It is through mimetic specialization like solo drill.
I didn't lose my items.
Character level
Lied to me.
experience
Once
are immersive and with different gaming content.
Scenario differences. Okay, here we go. Survival mechanics, maps will feature completely. Some scenarios will feature a completely new map. That? Let's capture my cursor. It's just really small. A new map? Or putting us on the opposite side of the map that already exists, so we... Scenarios will have different monster designs that require different combat approaches. These two things right here, the maps and enemies and dungeon, that's content. Survival mechanics, scenario duration, and scenario size, worthless. Get that out of my face, nobody cares.
Of waning and pacing of growth. We hope that by setting a play period, players will be able to fully immerse themselves in the backstory of the scenario.
I want to see what they're doing with these scenarios at this point, because if they're wiping, basically what we've come down to is they're wiping your character progress, right? They're wiping your level. They're taking items away, but only specific items. So they kind of drew that back, and they're taking away certain, like, all the scenario stuff, scenario items. So, like, what
For example,
is the point of it?
In one of our current PvE scenario, the world will change the season stage and unlocked over time,
What does
which
it
allows
mean?
players to be more immersed in the urgency of Minibus storyline. Furthermore, when a player finishes their adventure in a scenario, they can choose what they want to play next, instead of being stuck in an unchanged world. Secondly, the mechanism world facilitates co-play between old and new players. The periodical reset of some content like level is more conducive to allow players to with different game progress and experience to
I do agree with that. The approach that you take to these games can change as you learn how different mechanics work, what you like, what you don't like. I 100% agree with that particular part. Resetting everyone's level is just a chance for everyone to just get in there and mingle and try out different things together, but also separately.
play together. When a veteran player and his newcomer friends want to play together in the game, they can sign up for the same scenario and start their adventure together.
We have the same thing in other games like World of Warcraft, which is time walking, where you can go and do each of these types of things without losing your character progress. I think the major contention is that players who are high level lose that level. And I think that's the problem. And on top of it, with the server locks and the servers being full, that ends up making it very difficult to be able to have those types of engagements. I do.
Something else. The scenario servers are split. And they have sign-up windows for these different scenarios. So, by having those things, there's still a huge potential for you to keep new players from even getting onto the same server as their friends, depending on when everyone signs up for it. Like, if the server that I picked gets full, then my friends can't join in and play with me. You can invite friends now? So, what's the difference? Literally, what is the difference? It's the same thing that it is now. It's so
I
stupid.
do think I understand the direction they're going. I understand what they're trying to do, and it's not negative for the player. I don't think it'll pan out the way that they want it to for that direction, though. I think that
Pace of the player's experience of the scenario, and we will further optimize
interviews, I'd rather
or oriented by the purpose to make a best experience as the land and space is
together and you guys jump into the new server together, new season together.
Wow, that's just a reborn. Yeah, that's a new me.
Good.
And press F3 in the game. Click the redeem code button. I believe you guys
Free
already
stuff.
know how to exchange for.
Gonna work, right? And that's effectively what they're doing here. So, like, I don't know. I don't think anyone knows if that works out because no one's done this, right? And I find that to be weird, like super weird. We've just never seen it. Guild Wars 2? No, all the shit stays in Guild Wars 2. They do have the Foreverland is like creative mode in Minecraft though. It's not the same.
Like to ensure
It's not even creative mode though. I checked.
process will be smooth and
If you join late, you miss a bunch. You don't though, because everyone's resetting to level 1 at the beginning of every single one of those new areas, so you don't miss a bunch of stuff. You just miss out on cosmetics, right?
give you a nice experience. So just contact us always any problem.
It's a crazy experiment. It's wild.
Can we
I'm glad they're doing it.
So, normally when developers try new things, I'm on board with it. Like, you gotta shake the tree to see what falls out. But in this situation, again, they're trying to reinvent the wheel. And at the same time, they're trying to tell all of us that they're not doing the thing that we all know that they're doing. I think the idea here is plenty fine. I mean, too fast cycle and too early. I don't know. I don't know. This isn't the type of thing that I want to be dealing with on a regular basis. Like, I've already proclaimed that I'm done with the game, but even if I wasn't, this isn't something that I ever want to do again. Like, this and the whole monetization issue that I ran into are two of the worst, like, by far, with like a power gap, the worst parts of this game. Like, the execution here is F grade.
Really glad they're doing it.
So maybe let's move on to the
Yeah, the
what
bus
will
is cool. It's
happen
in-game.
in the updates in the games. Oh,
You missed out on a story we don't know yet.
Servers. Are you with me? Yeah, I'm playing the game and just want to show you the new features.
Oh yeah, they changed
from
fishing.
Today's updates.
Yeah, the newest.
Okay, so they did get
updated
some
fishing.
You
new.
missed out on blueprints? I don't know.
This
You might be able to
mosquito
keep them
update.
forever. Like they may exist in the next world. You just have to
Yeah, the
unlock them.
updated fishing system.
Yeah, I
first
always love to fish. Past my
I mean, you can just find the change.
After today's to you.
It's barely.
Yeah, what
Okay, let's see. So they still had the bait like before.
We're gonna add more features in the future to the fishing, right?
yeah.
Like,
I want to
Okay.
give a big one and like so I can show off to everyone.
this is so much more clear. Where you have to pull to the left or pull to the right while you're doing it,
Sure.
so it shows the reel and the strength. No, that's a way better system than it was before.
Sure.
But we still got
W fishing. What
Yeah, it's
else?
a good update.
a lot of people there's.
Can't believe it.
Dream, okay? Make it wake and
So you hit it for one
Oh.
damage, and you sedate it with a knife, and then you can capture it.
Someone's asking, can we
That's cool.
throw snowballs?
You
Oh,
can
they have
capture
blades. Oh wait a minute. Oh god.
animals.
No. Oh god, no. Wait a minute.
and get a best chance.
Oh,
Capture.
someone's asking,
Oh,
can we
wait a minute.
like throw snow?
My life is over. S tier.
Is there any
S
point
tier.
to doing
Oh,
that
man.
now?
That is
Will
F tier.
happen. Some of the many things are still be planned. So
I'm S tier.
the future is you can
Oh my! Slap their friends with the fish.
Is that a boss?
What?
Oh, someone want me to wish? Got it.
wow. That's fun. I always want to jump right into
The audio's a bit weird. That's the recording.
That is a trail.
Yeah, their in-game audio is
The
broken.
trail by some shooting the
Little
buttons
challenges.
and
That's
in the-
cute.
Balloons.
To you guys know, so we will have bug fix note every. I mean, once we have bug.
We got Battlegrounds. We have objective-based Battlegrounds.
Okay, we already had that
All right.
on both PvE and PvP servers.
That looks compelling as shit to me. Having PvP and PvE objectives inside of that PvP gameplay. Oh, there's Jellyfish. Yeah, you can have him as a head. A lot better. Yeah, I saw. It looked.
I mean, cool, I guess. Kind of like minor things. I don't think that you needed to have a dev stream for that sort of stuff. Like, normally that's made for like bigger, major changes or new additions to the game. Not going to hit them for that, but all in all, this scenario thing is a huge miss for me, and I don't think that I needed to wake up at 4 o'clock in the freaking morning to find that out. I just don't. I don't think I needed to do that. Purple masks and onesies or something. Think I'll ever get their shit together? No. No. And the reason why I don't think they're ever going to get it together is because the line that they've chosen to blend, the genres of MMO and sandbox, fundamentally don't play well together. As time goes on, MMOs are pretty much forced to cut a lot of bloat out of the game that accumulates just over time. You've seen it with every major MMO, just to pick one, and it's happened. You have to cut that bloat out. And with a sandbox game, it's pretty much all bloat. Which is why those resets have to happen, because the bloat gets to a certain point, servers start to take a performance hit, or new content gets added, which kind of facilitates that sort of thing. I don't foresee anyone making sandbox and MMO viable. Not yet. And the reason that I was so interested in starting a new scenario is because I said that I would. I said that I was going to give it another try when the new season started, just to see how they particularly handled it. And I knew that they were going to handle it differently than a lot of other games, but that turned out to not be a good thing. I imagine it being so much less story based and whatnot. Removing bloat wouldn't be hard. Well, you would think that it wouldn't be very hard. But here we are. With that we know of currently, no new story, no new content. Have 3 campaign arcs a year? Well, we'll see if we even get new campaign anything. And when. They'll have one in September for PvP. That's something else. Having a separate PvP server makes sense, because some people really do like that competitive aspect of video games, and some people don't. I'm one of those people who really just, sometimes I don't want to sweat against other people. But when you add in specific content for each of those things, that's when you run into like the FOMO, like real legitimate FOMO. Where it's like, did I make a mistake by not playing the PvP server? Like, what's the story over there? What are they getting that we're not getting? And vice versa. I don't like that idea on the premise that the quality or the amount of content could be completely different. Maybe PvE gets more story stuff, but PvP gets better story stuff, you know what I mean? And the only way that you'd ever know is if you, like, I guess, watch somebody else. So, FOMO in modern gaming is a bad thing, because it's usually artificial FOMO, but in a situation like this where it's non-malicious and non-predatory, it's still a problem. But it's not like a seasonal pass where it's like, spend $30 now or this item will never be available in the game again. It's different, but it's still not good. PvP was more focused on territory domination and guild fights. PvE is the big tentacles in the sky and the public events. I looked in the sky and I didn't see any tentacles. But I get what you're saying. I think that on the new scenario, I didn't. I should have clipped it or something. I'm recording this, so it's not a big deal, but in an event location when the phase happens, just change the skybox and make it different. Make it meaningful, make it permanent, make it omnipresent. Like, I get the event locations and scenarios and the world stuff. It would have been really cool to join a new scenario and be like, guess what? Forget your standard night and day. There's a monster just up there now. A good example of this was towards the end of Final Fantasy XIV 1.0. When you logged in, there was just the moon closer to the planet everywhere in the entire game. And everybody was like, at first it was like, huh, why does this guy look like that? And then more time passes and it gets closer and you're like, wait, what is happening? And then obviously they turned it into a scenario thing for A Realm Reborn where the moon crashes into the planet and a giant dragon pops out and yada yada yada. That sort of stuff is cool. The old server would have several events happening semi-often. Yeah, in fact, I wonder if I can find footage of it. FF 1 T Here we go. Yeah, being here. Like, obviously, recreating your entire game is like a drastic thing, but when I imagine like something as major as a quote-unquote scenario or like a new season, this is the sort of thing that I'm picturing. When you log in and there's no, like, you leave the town and the usual music that you hear is replaced by this ominous choir, and your skybox is that. It's like, whoa, what's happening? Yeah, because it wasn't like this the whole time. At first the moon was brighter, but it was still small, because the planet is supposed to have 2 moons, and it used to have 2 moons. And then it got bigger and bigger, and then on the final day, it was that. And everybody's like, oh, it's the end times. And it's all of the usual monsters. You still got your sheeps. You still, that's this is Lanosia, outside of Limsa, one of the main cities. The developers were spawning in monsters that otherwise wouldn't be in those particular zones for players to fight. And then at the very, very end, you get the cinematic that would later introduce A Realm Reborn. Now, I mean, obviously we can't expect them to go this hard all of the time, but I'm saying you don't want to make subtle changes and make them a big deal. You don't want to throw a parade over a 10% increase in experience. You want it to feel important, have a sense of urgency, and this is some of the ideas that you could use to do that. So when they say that there's a tentacle monster coming out of the sky, put it in the sky. And don't have it there sometimes. Every time you look up, you need a constant reminder that, yeah, that thing there is still there. And you're probably going to have to do something about that. It was cool to find it and fight it the first time. I thought, man, that's not actually in the sky. Well, I mean, the art made it seem like it was in the sky. But, put something there permanently, because it's a new scenario. Put something there that players can't ignore. Put something there that as a statement to everyone that this is not just the same thing again. Speaking of moons, Majora's Mask had a great reminder of impending change. Majora's Mask, what other things do that? I mean, even take, I guess, Fallout New Vegas. When you complete the Lonesome Road DLC and you nuke one of the factions, you come back out of that world, things are different. That is like a point of no return, and whatever faction you choose to nuke will not be the same from that point on. Very easy to do in single player, but yeah, I mean, Conan Exiles has stuff like this. Ark has things like this. I don't know about Rust. I want to say Rust does have something like this. I'm not sure, so I won't say Rust. But things that are like, ayo, that right there was a big deal. I don't know if I ever felt that way about Conan or Ark. Both Ark and Conan are still getting updates, and they're still very widely supported, but Conan Exiles had a new, werewolf bear thing added into it, and I was like, dude, this thing is freaking awesome. The Age of War in Conan felt like something that deserved to have a title like that. Same with the Age of Magic, So even though they were just a series of updates, they were major things, and they treated them like major things. the progression didn't feel different. It wasn't supposed to feel different. It's still the same game. You still want it to feel like it's the same thing. The same game, I mean. But as you're going through that same experience that you're kind of familiar with from early access, beta, whatever, it's like, oh, here are all of the different ways that things have evolved. Doesn't always have to be environment. Batman getting progressively more scuffed was cool, yeah. The environment could be monsters, creatures, the way that the land is, all sorts of stuff. My point is, TLDR, don't just increase the numbers. Once Human will do that, and they already plan to do more content like that. Like, we can't say it'll be good. Like a slight remix of Common Town or Combat Song, exactly. And that's the thing, Demented, is that they're planning to do that. But the new season is already started, and everyone's trying to figure out what's new. You can't confuse people like that. So you dropped it forever? Yeah, no, I'm done. I don't care about Once Human anymore. I'm out. I'm out. Sorry. The reason that I don't want to play Once Human anymore is there are better MMOs currently available, and there are better sandbox games currently available. Like, I had a positive experience with the game's, gameplay loop. Like, shooting enemies and, discovering points on the map add a certain level of charm to it. But going to a new spot on the map and seeing a checklist appear in the upper left where it's like, find all of the boxes, defeat blank amount of enemies every single time over and over again, got really old really fast. And I could play a Ubisoft game if I want to do that. I hate MMOs, so I thrive off of these MMO adjacent games. Every MMO I've played either weren't my style or changed into something I've hated. That's absolutely valid. That's happened to me as well. But if you don't want the proper MMO experience, I would suggest trying a sandbox game. Like a full-on sandbox experience, like Rust. Every time I see people playing Rust, they're always having a great time. The videos that I see of, like, DayZ, for example, are super entertaining, and I watch every second of those. Conan Exiles still has a bunch of issues, but it's still a supported game. Pretty popular. I used to be a pretty hardcore fan of Destiny. Destiny is another one of those games that tried to do a genre mix and just screwed it up. I could like Rust more if the enemy AI was better. But yeah, sandbox games are about 90% of what I play. Well, there you go. Now, I'll ask you. Obviously, I'm biased, and my experiences have been mired, but would you admit that there are better sandbox games than Once Human? And you agree, can we find common ground in that? Sure, if you want sandbox as the focus 100%. Okay. So, for the people who are coming into Once Human with a specific expectation in mind, there are better versions of X and Y based off of what you want for most everything. Right. What I'm getting at here is Once Human is trying to be a bunch of different things and is subpar on all of them. So it's like, yeah, you get a blend of different things, different ideas, but they're inferior versions. They're like the worst versions of their respective type. Roguelike sandbox survival craft. Yeah. A jack of all trades and a master of none. Maybe if they had focused on just... If they had focused it a little bit more, the additional effort that went to miscellaneous things could have been... I don't know. I don't know how you fix Once Human anymore. Now that this first season has started and it is what it is, I feel like anyone who was going to play Once Human, they're already in there and they're just dealing with it. I don't know what they're gonna do to draw in new players. I feel like they've already hit their plateau. That's what I'm saying. It's just restless and stuff. Isn't it a relatively new game? Yeah. Yeah, it's relatively new. Not that I mean, how new a game is doesn't really matter too much because you see these live service games pop up and die. Like days of the week. So, anyway. I think I've said all that I need to say about Once Human, so I'll go ahead and end the recording.